So section C of a social studies paper has 3 questions. These are essay questions. So you're only supposed to choose one. You don't answer all of them, even if you know all of them. So the first part is a question on late Stone Age. Now when you look at these points that have been given here, they all have 2 marks each. So you're not going to write a long paragraph answer because 2 marks is not sufficient for a long paragraph. So the essay you're going to write is a very short paragraph type of essay. All right, it's not a one-word answer, but rather few short sentences. So question 1 is saying, describe the way of life of the late Stone Age men under the following headings. Point number 1, hunting tools developed. So when you look at these questions, I will try to provide pictures so that you can be able to have an idea of what these things looked like back then. What are some of the hunting tools that were in the late Stone Age? Okay, so in the late Stone Age, we had tools like the cleaver, okay, the cleaver, and there were also tools like the flute shaped like a bone, and then it was carved into a flute. That is how they were able to make their music. Very creative indeed. So now when you look at Stone Age is divided into 3 parts. We have early, middle, and late Stone Age. Okay, so the people that lived in the late Stone Age were the San and the Bushmen, okay, which was 15,000 years ago. These people, they lived in caves. So these people who lived in the late Stone Age, they were more advanced than the people in the early and middle Stone Age. You find that the people who lived in the early Stone Age were the Homo habilis. Then as the time progressed into the middle Stone Age, we had broken human. Then in the late Stone Age, we had the San and the Bushmen. Okay, so these were the people who lived during this time. In the early Stone Age, we had the tools that were being used were tools like the stone axe and the stone cleavers. Okay, let me just try to look for a picture to give you an idea. Okay, all right, so these are some of the tools used in the early Stone Age. So this is a stone axe. All right, this is a stone axe and this is a cleaver. So this is how the tools used during the early Stone Age looked like. But in the early Stone Age, in the late Stone Age, this is what I'm calling the bone flute. So this is actually a bone of an animal which was carved into a musical instrument. All right. So this is another tool that was used in the late Stone Age. They call them the cleaver. All right. So hunting methods, what are the hunting methods using? The other tools that were used during this period was the bow and arrow. All right, the bow and arrow was used during this period. Let me just try to look for a picture that looks like a bow and arrow. Let me see. So here we have a bow and arrow. If you've watched a movie of Mr. Bones or something like that, you should have. So what this does is you can see how the man is stretching the arrow. So once this arrow hits the animal dies. Now you'll find that this bow and arrow was also used in the Middle Age, okay, in the Middle Stone Age. But the only difference is that in the late Stone Age, the Sandmen would add poison to the arrow so that the animal could die faster. All right. During the Middle Stone Age, they would use this same tool. But then, as time went by, they found that when they were killing the animals, it would take quite some time for the animal to die. So, in the late Stone Age, people developed further by adding poison to the arrow so that they can speed up the process in which the animal would die. Okay, without poison, maybe it would take 3 hours for the animal to die, maybe even 5 hours. But after adding poison, maybe it would die in 40 minutes. Okay, so these were the tools used by the San people, the San and the Bushmen in the late Stone Age. So that is how they hunted the animals. They would poison the arrow, and then when the arrow hits the animal would be poisoned and it would die, and then they would eat those animals. Okay. Then they would use the sharp-edged cleaver to remove the hair from the animal. I'm sure you can remember how the cleaver was looking like. All right, this one here, or even a spear. So if you don't have, those who did not own bow and arrows would use a spear or an African biface. Okay, so these are the tools they would use to kill the animals and to remove the hair from the animals. So those are the hunting methods that were used. So hunting tools developed, we have the poisoned bow and arrow. We also have the spear. Then the hunting methods are just what I've described right now. Then we go to the third point, economic organization. When we're talking about the economic aspect of people, what are we talking about? We're talking about finance and methods in which they use to keep up with life. Okay, upkeep. What are the activities that you involve in that make you sustain yourself? So how were the San and Bushmen sustaining themselves? One, they were hunters. They were also gatherers. They would gather fruits from the bushes. That's why they are called Bushmen. Okay, hunting and gathering. Those were the activities they would involve themselves in. Religious organization. Religion, I'm sure we're talking about worship. Okay. So the San people, when you look at the caves, the San people lived in caves. Okay. So when you look at the caves in which the San people used to live in, you will find drawings in those caves. Okay, you will find drawings in those caves. I think I captured a picture of some of these drawings here. These are some of the drawings that they found in the caves in which the San people were living. Okay, yes, so you'll find pictures of animals which would depict their lifestyle of hunting and gathering. All right, so now in these caves you find that one common feature that was found in most of these caves was the praying mantis. Okay, so which led archaeologists to believe that the San people worshipped the praying mantis. So on the religious aspect, the San people worshipped the praying mantis. Okay, archaeologists are able to know this because they would find pictures in which the drawings were depicting people worshipping a praying mantis, and so the conclusion was made that the San people worshipped the praying mantis. Then we move to the next point, social organization. So these people were nomadic in nature. What does a nomad mean? There are two types of words. There's a nomad and an indigenous person. An indigenous person is someone who's been in that place. That is where they are found. They've been born in that place, and that is the place that they are found. So those people, we call them indigenous people. The opposite of indigenous is a nomad. A nomad is not found in one place. These people have no specific place they are found. They are usually moving from one place to another, probably looking for greener pastures. Okay, so I should also include on the point of economic organization, these people were also farming. Okay. So social organization, these people were nomads. They did not have a particular place in which they were living. They would move from one place to another. If they find a place which has a lot of animals, they would stick around that place. And I'm sure when those animals run away or when they finish eating those animals, they would actually look for an area which has more animals, all right, or greener pastures. And these people also moved in communities. They were not isolated people. They had communities they lived in. So these are the short sentences you're going to include for each of these points. You're not going to write long essays because the number of marks given is emphasizing that you should write short points for each. And also do not write the answers in point form, but rather in essay form. Okay, so that is how you're going to answer your question 1. So we are going to go to question 2. Discuss the causes of the Bantu speaking people migration in Africa. So this question has 10 marks. Okay, the question has 10 marks, so definitely your essay is going to be longer. All right, so I have posted a PDF in the group. So when you look at this PDF, you're going to open it, and then you're going to open, there's a particular page which talks about Bantu migration. Okay, so what are some of the things we need to understand when we're talking about Bantu migration? In general, what are some of the issues that cause people to migrate? Let's say you're living in an area and then you want to move from there to another place. What are some of the points or factors you're going to consider for you to move from that place to another place? One of the things is that if there's overpopulation in an area, that can cause you to want to move to an area which is less populated. Okay, because not everyone wants to live in a crowded place. So overpopulated areas can cause you to migrate. So this is the page on page 29. That's where you're going to find the answers to this. Okay, causes of the Bantu migration. Isn't that what they're asking in the question there? Okay. Okay, so causes of Bantu migration, that is what they are asking us. Okay, so point number 1, adventure. They are just people who want to explore the world, look for more areas, wonderful places. Okay, so adventure is one of the points, to look for new areas, new and exciting places. Another point, drying up of the Sahara Desert. One of the things that causes desertification is cutting down of trees. So as you cut down trees to use them for firewood, and then you do not plant more trees to replace those trees that you've cut down, you are increasing the desert. So what these people would do is they'll chop down trees, use the trees for firewood, and then the desert would start increasing. That's how the Sahara Desert increased in size. Okay, so the drying up of the Sahara, once you start forming a desert,